Hello and welcome back to Watch Grok. We're going to do something different today. We have our first matchup, and it's between the Christopher Ward 12 in titanium and the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. The categories I have for the matchup are the dial, the case, bracelet, water resistance, weight, power reserve, lume, and accuracy. The winner in each category will get 1 point and will tally the total at the end. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to show your support for this channel. First up is the dial. The dial on the 12 is gorgeous. It has the raised pattern, which is very intricate. The fume using the blue looks really nice. I really appreciate the simplicity of the logo on the dial as well. All in all, it's a very solid dial. The Tissot's dial is nothing to scoff at either. The color is really nice, and in the sun, it has a really nice softness to it. The waffle pattern looks quite nice on the dial as well. Both have very nice dials, and they're both attractive. I would give a point to both. As for the case, they are both 40 millimeters, but they sit very differently on the wrist. The 12 has smooth edges around the lugs, and the lug to lug is about 39.5 millimeters. The PRX has fairly sharp edges, and the lug to lug is about 44.5 millimeters. So there's about a 5 millimeter difference, which does have an impact on the way that it sits on the wrist. There's also a difference in the thickness of the cases. The 12 is at about 9 millimeters, while the PRX is about 11. Overall, the 12 hugs the wrist more than the PRX, and it just, to me personally, it feels nicer, and so I would have to give this point to the 12. Moving on to the bracelet, both bracelets look amazing in the sun, and the finishing on both looks very nice, and there isn't too much of a color difference, especially when in the sun. The tapering on the 12 starts at about 24.4 millimeters down to 18, and on the PRX it starts at about 27, so a little bit larger, and it goes down to 17.9. Both bracelets end up at the same or similar width, but the tapering starts a little bit different on both. The PRX has a more dramatic tapering, while the 12 has a more gradual one. I'd say both bracelets feel nice, and to decide the winner, we should look a little bit closer. So both bracelets have a symmetric butterfly buckle. However, on the buckle itself, there is a difference that stands out. On the PRX, the back of the buckle is sealed and solid, while on the 12, you can see right through it. The way it's designed, you expect there to be a gap, but it's not that way on the PRX. I have no idea why. Maybe it's to do with the rigidity, making sure that it doesn't bend or anything over time. But in either case, the more I look at it, it bothers me. And so I think the 12 edges out the PRX on the bracelet. As far as water resistance, the 12 has a screw down crown and has 100 meters of water resistance. The PRX, on the other hand, does not have a screw down crown, but it has the same water resistance. It's interesting that the water resistance is the same, but it's a tie. Weight is a bit controversial. Some people prefer heft in their watches, while some people prefer their watches to be a bit lighter, which makes it easier to wear throughout the day. I personally prefer lighter watches so long as it doesn't feel cheap. Including the bracelet, the 12 is about 89 grams, and the PRX is about 134 grams, which is about a 45 gram difference. So it's a fairly noticeable difference, and when you put on the watch one after the other, you definitely feel it. For me, my preference is lighter, and I know this isn't quite a fair matchup because the 12 is titanium while the PRX is stainless steel. However, in comparing these two, I would have to give it to the 12. For the power reserve, the 12 has a power reserve of 56 hours, while the PRX, as the name suggests, it's called the PRX Powermatic 80. It has 80 hours of power reserve. So easy one here. The PRX takes the point for this one. Lume is a fun one. I'm always excited to see the lume on watches because you can be very surprised by the strength of the lume and also the color of the lume. If we look at the watches side by side in a completely dark room, you can see that both watches have plenty of lume. The 12 is on the left and the PRX is on the right. As you can see, the lume on the left is brighter than the one on the right. So the point here goes to the 12. Last but not least, accuracy. So I geeked out a bit and I bought a time grapher. This is used to measure the accuracy of the movement in different positions. If we start with a 12, we can see that it has about -1 to +1 seconds per day. When we throw on the PRX, this watch shows about -9 to 0 seconds per day. So the PRX is running a bit slow, and if you look at the reading, it's a bit more scattered as well. While we could measure it in other positions too, I decided to just do it in the horizontal position for both, just to keep it fair. And so the accuracy goes to the 12. So at the end of the matchup, which watch won? When totaling the score, we have the 12 with 7 points and the PRX with 3 points. The winner is the 12. What do you think about this matchup? Do you think the ratings were fair? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you like this new format, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.